It's election time, so you might be seeing this.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Or you may be seeing this.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
But what is going on in the digital world where algorithms customize messages different to the audiences in our community? What are El Pasoans seeing and sharing about the election?
To help answer that question, Borderland reached out to UT El Paso political science professor Melissa Baker, who specializes in political psychology.
She assigns students in her American government and politics to track their social media feeds and compare them to what other older relatives were seeing.
Most of the things that were being submitted by students about what they were seeing were from TikTok, whereas a lot of the things that they were submitting that a parent may have seen or another family member may have seen, sometimes it was Instagram, sometimes it was Facebook, sometimes it was Twitter.
UT El Paso students are mostly Hispanic, making up 84% of the student enrollment, and the university is just a few miles away from Mexico. But Baker says the social media students saw looked like what the rest of the country is seeing.
It seems like most of the political information students are getting is about kind of the presidential election or national politics, and it's less about El Paso politics or El Paso and Juarez politics.
Some of the most common threats students encountered were voter registration, immigration, and reproductive rights.
In one assignment report, a student noted seeing different approaches to reproductive rights. The student feed showed pro-choice posts, but the student's mother's feed was filled with anti-abortion images. The student asked why their parents followed that page and wrote that, quote, "My parents follow this Instagram account because they believe it creates and posts valuable and reliable information, especially for right religious conservatives."
In some cases, students did find messaging targeting Hispanics, like Trump's unsubstantiated comments on Haitian migrants in Ohio. The social media platforms used to differ, but one that stuck out to student Andre Rogers was TikTok.
TikTok is the craziest one. Facebook gets a lot of their videos that I've seen from TikTok. So yes, the answer is yes. TikTok is crazy. TikTok is out there as far as the misinformation, as far as the opinions.
Professor Baker said the assignment reflected how people passively consume social media content without thinking much about it.
A lot of times when they're looking at political information, getting political information online, they're not necessarily always thinking about what does this mean for politics, which I think is natural. I think when you're getting any sort of information online, you're not necessarily thinking about next steps. You're just kind of consuming that information. But if I were to guess, I think that that's probably something that students got out of it in terms of thinking about something in a new way that maybe they weren't doing prior to the assignment.
Students found several local media outlets in their feed. By far, the biggest influencer was FitFam. The page has 515,000 followers, far exceeding from any other news outlets in the area.
FitFam acknowledges a sense of responsibility to provide information to the community because of its huge following. In this election, they've teamed up with journalists at El Paso Matters to help voters be more informed. FitFam said via Instagram that in this election, we exclusively partnered with El Paso Matters to promote neutral, informative information regarding the voting process, the candidates, and other information. Our aim, especially this year, was not to push people about who to vote for, but to push people to vote, period.
Baker believes that FitFam has the potential to reach younger El Pasoans in ways that outlets can't.
I think one of the really interesting things that FitFam can do for this region is give information basically immediately. Maybe on most days might not matter a lot, but you could imagine, especially on voting day, if FitFam were to say something like, there's a really long line at X polling place, maybe go vote at UTEP where anyone can go vote instead. Something like that could be really impactful. It could actually really matter for politics in the Borderlands region.
El Paso County, Texas has more than 522,000 voters who can cast ballots in this November 5th election.
But most of the registration growth is among voters 45 and older. According to the El Paso Matters analysis, El Pasoans under 31 make up to 24% of the registered voters this year.
More information and polling center locations can be found on the El Paso County website, epcountyvotes.com. For Borderzine, this is Emmanuel Rivas
And Isabel Medina.